In 2017, after years of debate, a group of 30 leading geologists officially declared that Earth has one more continent than you'd learned at school. It's so big, it's roughly the same size as the United States. It's shaped like this. It's called Zealandia. Well, like Atlantis, the lost city of legend, Zealandia fits the scientific definition of a continent, except it's no myth. But the truth is, chances are you already know all that, because you've stood on it. Most of us learn about 7 continents in school: Asia, Africa, North America, South America, Europe, Australia, and Antarctica. But thanks to shifting tectonic plates, Earth's land masses are in constant motion. They collide, crumble, and reform, redrawing our maps in ways we're only beginning to understand. There was also abundant flora, ferns, conifers, and flowering plants, whole ecosystems locked in stone for millions of years. Something called the Pacific Plate started diving beneath it, dragging Zealandia's edge down deeper and deeper. Then its crust stretched thin as it separated from the rest of the landmass, allowing the ocean to rush in. Today, it's covered by hundreds of meters to several kilometers of water. Evidence of a warm, temperate climate persists in these ancient rocks, pointing to a time when Zealandia was far more hospitable to life than it is now. You see, 94% of Zealandia is submerged, almost entirely beneath the vast expanse of the South Pacific Ocean, an area bigger than India. Some areas were downright alien-looking, filled with huge undersea canyons and dramatic cliffs. Well, it turns out that like a lot of big discoveries, it came down to perspective. And that's where this guy comes in. Others resembled more familiar landscapes. They just happened to be upside down. Like, take a look at this one. He began his career studying rocks in the country's mountains, but quickly realized he needed to look beyond them. He still had to piece together the continent's history. He collected rock samples from different sites and analyzed their chemical composition. Some had high concentrations of lithium and rubidium, hinting at their origin. See, it all boiled down to one crucial detail. Was Zealandia connected to other landmasses? Deep within the Earth's crust, others had neon and helium isotopes. That indicated volcanic activity from deep within the planet. There are a few small ones on its dry land portions, but none that connect them. And that was the deciding factor. In 2017, a group of 30 leading geologists voted overwhelmingly to recognize Zealandia as Earth's 8th continent. Take the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, for example, a huge mountain range that winds its way across the Atlantic Ocean. After all, a continent is something most of us experience every day. It's made of continental crust, not oceanic crust. It has its own unique history and cultural significance. This isolation allowed species to develop without interference from outside predators or competitors. But it's not just animals. Plants, too, evolved in unusual ways. Take the kauri tree, for example. It's one of the largest trees in New Zealand and can live for more than 2,000 years. Its ancestors were small, delicate plants that evolved into giants after they arrived on Zealand. It's been home to some of Earth's most amazing creatures, and it's still shaping the world around us today. It is a place where evolution has run wild and where creatures unlike anything else on Earth have thrived. And that's not just because of its location. It was once part of a supercontinent called Gondwana, but it broke off and became its own separate landmass. If you want to keep learning, subscribe and leave us a comment. We love as the plates move and collide. They create mountain ranges, deep ocean trenches, and volcanoes. This constant reshaping of the land has had a profound impact on Zealandia's geology, and this separation created the Tasman Sea and sparked the evolution of new species. It's also because of its history. It's where we live, where we build our homes and raise our families. It's part of our everyday lives. It's the boundary between 2 tectonic plates that are moving apart from each other. The tuatara is a kind of lizard that's been around since the age of the dinosaurs. This may not seem like a big deal, but it's actually a significant event in the continent's history. It is a place where evolution has run wild and where the Earth's crust is constantly reshaping itself. It's a place that was once lost, but is now being as the land rises, it exposes new areas to the atmosphere and creates habitats for new species. Who knows what we might find as Zealandia continues to emerge from the sea. It has a third eye on top of its head that can detect changes in light and help it regulate its body clock. The rift marks the place where new seafloor is created. Leave your thoughts in the comments section below. And remember, don't just take my word for it. Check out the research for yourself. Before humans arrived, it was home to a wide variety of creatures, many of which were unlike anything seen elsewhere on Earth. They were the moa, a type of flightless bird that lived in New Zealand. They were enormous, reaching up to 12 feet tall, and they roamed the forests of Zealandia for thousands of years. But when humans arrived, they hunted the moa to extinction. Together, these samples built a complete picture of Zealandia's tumultuous past. To really understand the region's geology, he needed to venture beneath the waves. Zealandia was once its own continent, not just a bunch of random islands. But of course, nobody accepts something so controversial without a fight. Does it remind you of any place you've seen before? Each layer corresponded to a particular eruption, telling him the timeline of massive explosive events. Using this method, he mapped thousands of years of volcanic activity across Zealandia. It's Fiordland National Park in New Zealand, submerged and flipped upside down. Hey, I'm the host. Welcome to Life Noggin. Let's break this down. The crust that forms the ocean floor is regularly just 7 to 10 kilometers thick, but Zealandia's crust is a whopping 20 to 30 kilometers thick. Plus, it has all the features we associate with continents, like towering mountain ranges formed by gigantic collisions of the Earth's moving plates. But just because it's underwater doesn't mean it's not important. Quite the contrary. Being out of sight and out of mind made Zealandia the perfect natural laboratory where scientists could study plate tectonics in action. About 83 million years ago, the ancient supercontinent Gondwana was breaking up. Once they realized that Zealandia existed, scientists wanted to figure out how it evolved, so they headed to the South Pacific to search for answers. The first step was figuring out the lay of the land, or should I say, the lay of the seafloor. See that? That's Stewart Island, the southernmost of New Zealand's main islands. When geologists refer to Zealandia, they're not talking about the dry bits we can walk on, but the entire submerged mass, including Stewart Island. Antarctica pulled away. Australia drifted north, and one giant chunk ripped away from the rest, not into islands, but into another continent. At its greatest extent, Zealandia was roughly the same size as today's Australia, though some sources say it was closer to the size of the US or even Europe. For example, around 180 million years ago, Earth's land was united in a mega-continent called Pangaea. But thanks to new mapping technologies, by studying submerged mountain ranges and deep ocean trenches, they can build a picture of Zealandia's shape and its dramatic history. But then, the eastern half split off, heading what we now call the Americas towards the west, and creating the Atlantic Ocean between them. Again, continents come and go. So back to Zealandia. Today, most of it is drowned. Its highest peaks are part of New Zealand and New Caledonia, two places most people wouldn't associate with a hidden continent. Back when it was dry land, fossils tell us that Zealandia was home to giant reptiles, including the Sapularmeter Longtuaranosaurus, whose name means terrible lizard. See, after separating from Gondwana, Zealandia didn't remain high and dry for long. But wait, you might be wondering what's the difference between continental crust and the stuff the ocean floor is made of. In short, it comes down to thickness. Take a look at this chunk of Zealandia that poked through the waves. As for why so many people missed Zealandia before, well, it's simple. It was underwater. And that's not the only reason. It's such a hot topic in geology. Using a ship equipped with sonar, researchers could make detailed maps of Zealandia's peaks but if Zealandia's continents were so easy to spot, why did it take until 2017 for them to be recognized? This is a geologist who specializes in uncovering the history of New Zealand's landscapes. By drilling into the seafloor and pulling up cores of mud, sand, and rock, he could analyze layers of volcanic ash preserved in the sediment. But he wasn't done yet. After years of work, he published his findings in the Journal of Geology and proposed a bold idea. There were naysayers who argued that if Zealandia was a continent, the ocean floor should be too. But ultimately, their arguments fell flat. When Earth's continents moved apart, they left behind physical scars called rifts. But Zealandia doesn't have any obvious rifts, at least not on the ocean floor. But not everyone was happy with this news. There were plenty of people who felt left out of the decision, and that's not surprising. But geology is a science based on evidence, not emotion. And the evidence is clear. Zealandia meets the definition of a continent. Take, for example, the peculiar animals and plants that live on Zealandia. There are also smaller flightless birds like the kiwi and the waka, as well as a strange reptile called the tuatara. These unique creatures evolved because Zealandia was isolated from other landmass. All these examples show just how unique Zealandia is. Zealandia has a long and complicated past that goes back millions of years. Tectonic plates have been rearranging the Earth's crust for billions of years, and Zealandia is a prime example of this. In recent years, researchers have discovered that Zealandia is rising. It might seem strange to think of a continent that's mostly underwater, but Zealandia is a reminder that the Earth is constantly changing. But hey, that's just a theory, a scientific theory. Thanks for watching. What do you think of this episode? If you liked this episode, be sure to check out a previous episode on Forgotten Islands. All the info you need is in the description.